Sam lived in solitude. His apartment was small, unremarkable, but safe at least. That's what he believed. But there was one rule he never broke. Never open the door after midnight. No matter how persistent the knocking. No matter what voice called his name. It started small. A light tap, almost like the wind shifting against his door. At first, it was easy to ignore. He barely noticed. But by the third night, it wasn't subtle anymore. The knocks grew louder, heavier, rattling the very walls of his apartment. He checked the peephole. Nothing. No shadow. No movement in the dim hallway. Just silence. A wrong kind of silence. The knocking didn't come at random. It came precisely at 12:03 a.m. each night. He checked the time every time it happened. The pattern was disturbingly perfect. Sam held out longer than most would. He refused to answer, refused to acknowledge that something was playing a game with him. But on the seventh night, curiosity cracked his resolve. When the knocking came, he crept toward the door, heart pounding in his ears. He hesitated, then pressed his eye to the peephole. His own reflection stared back. But it wasn't him. The eyes were wrong. Hollow, smiling without warmth. Watching him. Sam recoiled, choking back a scream. He scrambled away from the door like a cornered animal. It was trying to mimic him. The knocking stopped. The silence stretched long into the night. Night 11. The knocking came louder than ever, as if something on the other side was furious now. His door shook with the force of it. His breath came in ragged gasps. Then the voice came. It was his own.
"Open the door, Sam. Let me in."
The voice warped distorted, as if scraping through layers of static, twisting his own tone into something wrong. Sam shoved furniture against the door. He prayed. He whispered desperate words to nobody. The knocking slowed. Soft taps, as if whatever was outside could hear his panic. Then, in the quiet, it spoke again.
"You won't last another night."
He never opened the door. The next morning, he checked the wood, traced his fingers over every inch of the surface. His breath stalled deep. Jagged scratches marred the wood on the inside of the door. Not fresh, not new, as if something had been trapped there, waiting. The cleaner wasn't one for superstition. Hotels had quirks. Old buildings whispered in the wind, and sometimes rooms had their own stories. Room 604 was one of them. She had been working at the hotel for nearly 3 years, and that room was always closed, reserved, but never checked into. The staff didn't speak about it. The manager never explained it. Yet, every morning, the signs were there. The bed was rumpled, as if someone had slept in it. The towels hung damp in the bathroom. The air held a faint trace of perfume. Something expensive, something wrong. She had never seen anyone enter, never seen anyone leave. And yet, someone was inside. At first, she ignored it. Logically, someone must have used the room overnight. Perhaps a guest the system didn't record. Perhaps a mistake. She locked the door herself, made sure everything was pristine before leaving. But the next day, the sheets were wrinkled again. The mirror had condensation as if someone breathed against it. The door was still locked. From the inside, the changes became impossible to explain. She placed a fresh notepad on the desk before leaving one evening. The next morning, words were scribbled across the paper. "You were here last night." Her hands shook as she flipped through the pages. Beneath her fingertips, more messages scrawled in rushed handwriting. "Who are you? Don't go. You should stay." The ink was smudged, the indentation deep. The message felt heavy. She checked the security footage. It showed nothing except her walking toward the door, pausing, smiling at the camera. She didn't remember doing that. She never smiled. One night, determined to prove she wasn't imagining things, she set up a camera inside the room. She watched the footage the next morning. The first few hours passed in eerie stillness, an untouched bed, suffocating silence pressing against the walls. Then the covers moved. Not in a gust of wind, not in a shift of fabric, but as though someone sat up, something unseen, something watching. And then the recording stopped, cut to black. The last frame? A handprint pressed against the lens. She never returned to room 604. She never asked her coworkers about it. The hotel still lists it as reserved, but no guest is ever seen entering. And the next morning, the bed will still be warm,